You know, a lot of health experts always talk about the need for walking in your everyday life for optimal health, but if you're living in Philadelphia, that might not be that advantageous for you. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Okradowski here of WeAreChange.org, and holy cow, are we dealing with some absolutely crazy news today that, of course, have far-reaching global implications. Lots of things happening with Russia. We're going to be getting into that, as well as all the latest news, especially financial news, that is wreaking havoc more than a hurricane will on some of the most poorest people of the world. What's really going on here? Well, we're going to be talking about that, plus a lot more, all here on this independent media broadcast. If you like the shirt that I'm wearing right now, you can get it on thebestpoliticalshirts.com, and the clip that we played in the beginning of this broadcast looks like it was just posted by a random user. We're also hearing that the clip had to be cleaned up and edited just so it wouldn't be taken down by big tech social media, as the current reality is even too much to bear for the algorithms and censors. This, as scenes like this are becoming more and more common, more and more unavoidable, highlighting the true cost of some very bad policies put in by some politicians who clearly abused their time in office as much as they did their own constituents. In related news of corrupted politicians, we of course have our current Vice President of the United States making this very important announcement today.
So the United States shares a very important relationship, which is an alliance with the Republic of North Korea. And it is an alliance that is strong and enduring.
Now, I don't know how I feel about an alliance with North Korea personally myself. It definitely does complicate things geopolitically. Now, either we really do have an alliance with our chief geopolitical foe, or our political leadership is incompetent. You choose what you want to believe, but I think it's fair to say that competency isn't the best trait of the Democrats currently in power. All of this as, of course, we are on the precipice, we are on the roadway towards a global conflict right now between the East and the West. All of this is happening right now as it looks like the corporate media is just priming the general public for a nuclear war, which many foreign policy experts are saying is absolutely unavoidable if we continue on this current trajectory that we are on right now. And again, we have seen some very harsh, bombastic, saber-rattling words between the East and the West. This, as the current president of Russia right now will soon be announcing the annexation of more Ukrainian land, declaring it officially Russian territory, which he has previously said if it would ever be attacked, this would prompt Russia to, of course, to quote, defend itself with nuclear force. This is the strategy that, of course, we have been calling out here for a very long time. All of this is happening as, of course, the U.S. Embassy has just officially warned Americans living in Russia to leave that country immediately, as the situation there gets very serious, especially after the explosions that happened on the Nord Stream pipeline. A clear, large sabotage of infrastructure that, of course, is leading to a lot of methane gas being released to the environment. All of this as today we have seen a coordinated push by many Western media outlets to blame it on Putin. Now, who's responsible for this particular attack? Right now, we don't know. We don't have any evidence suggesting this. All we have is hearsay and speculation, as of course many people are asking themselves, why would Russia do this when they themselves could have just turned off their own pipeline that they spent billions of dollars building? Now it is shut off. It's going to be shut off for many years now. This, as the Telegraph literally pictured Putin in a submarine with an article detailing how Putin could have carried out the attack here. And again, who's really responsible for this? Again, we do not know. But as I've said months ago on LukeUncensored.com, to be on the lookout for attacks against major pieces of infrastructure and also the larger possibility of online attack, specifically on networks and communication hubs, as of course the World Economic Forum was just conducting their own cyber war games with Russia Cyber Polygon not so long ago. Much of the world's data and information along with communications is of course trafficked through undersea cables, which, as other online commentators like like Jack Posobiec have pointed out, we should be paying attention to this, specifically with the possibility of a retaliatory strike that could potentially happen here and escalate the tensions very severely. Now, as we described to you, during a time of war, truth is the first casualty, and when information is so vital, it's so important to understand here, especially when it comes to all the disinformation, all the propaganda coming from both sides. In this day and age, when information is king, we have bureaucratic despots like the Prime Minister of New Zealand calling communication, information, freedom of the ability to be able to talk to each other, a quote, weapon of war, specifically calling for a new type of internet with rules that would limit freedom, even going on and specifically saying, quote, how do you tackle climate change if people don't believe it exists? Well, of course, you start seeing any dissenting opinions and voices as evil and too dangerous to even be allowed. Essentially creating thought criminals, denying people the access to information, while essentially creating your own thought control police. This is the end game. This is what they're trying to do, and this is why I started LukeUncensored.com, our very own independent platform where we get to say and do what we want. There's a lot of attacks on our infrastructure, but we just simply use other infrastructure. We have alternatives to alternatives, backups to backups, and our messaging, our videos could never be stopped here on LukeUncensored.com. Everywhere else, they can. And this is why we make a video almost every single day diving into the deeper issues, going further down the rabbit hole, all exclusively on LukeUncensored.com, a new video almost every single day, along with, of course, 3 master classes on survival, travel, and escape hacking, Change Media University. We have a forum where you can meet like-minded individuals, share ideas on prepping. We will be doing more AMAs live with you guys, all exclusively on LukeUncensored.com, as this will also be your way to get access to exclusive events happening in the near future. Many events coming. The only way to get to them is, of course, being a member of LukeUncensored.com. The longer you've been a member, the longer and better chances you have of being a part of all the incredible projects that we're going to be doing in real life very soon. If you haven't signed up to LukeUncensored.com, it's just 50 cents a day. What are you waiting for? Sign up just by clicking the link down in the description below. Signing up is very easy, very quick. And then, of course, you will have access to all the value that we are offering you here on our platform, and our voice and our message that, of course, cannot be censored. Today's video is going to be pretty wild. Only, of course, on LukeUncensored.com. See you there. Now, as a storm barrels down on the free, beautiful state of Florida, we are seeing the devastation and havoc that could be caused by Mother Nature. But, of course, as history dictates, it's not just Mother Nature that, of course, is the most worrisome danger to humanity, but, of course, it's human disaster that is far more reaching, far more devastating, especially when it comes to some of the poorest people in our society that are being wrecked with a financial hurricane that, of course, the corporate media is not reporting on nonstop, which they should be. As, of course, central banks and Federal Reserves all throughout the world have been printing money out of thin air and giving it to their corporate buddies, particularly here in the United States. Many companies on Wall Street that were too big to fail received secret Federal Reserve bailouts, received money underneath the table, which, of course, is partly why we are dealing with such major inflation in our country, as the same politicians who have created failed policies after failed policies are promising us that more policies that created this havoc will somehow help us. We, of course, have the Inflation Reduction Act, which it doesn't reduce inflation, but what's happening here is just a microcosm of what is really happening in Europe, where energy problems there that have been spurred on by deliberate destructive policies by politicians that have limited energy to Europe now are guaranteeing significant major problems for the people of Europe. The politicians there literally said, oh, domestic energy exploration? Oh, production? No, definitely not going to do that. As, of course, they became dependent on Russian gas and oil, which now is not going to be delivered to them. What are the consequences of this? Well, severe economic ones. As, of course, Russia has already shut off their Yamal gas pipeline because Germany would not pay in rubles. There's other pipelines going through, of course, Ukraine. But with these pipelines out, you could bet your bottom dollar there's going to be some significant financial ramifications for this, as already Europe is in an energy crisis. This is only going to be made that much worse because of this incident, to the point where the British pound is absolutely flailing down in its value, to the point where British politicians are now telling their constituents, if you use the energy, if you use heat, you will have to pay for it no matter what. There is no limit to how high your energy bills could go this winter, as the government is telling households to read their meter, as prices are going to be going up very soon there, as they announce that there is no cap to how high the bill could get, as of course many businesses, many private residencies will have very hard times these winters paying for the energy that is deliberately becoming less and less abundant. It's becoming less abundant because of artificial scarcity, because of the geopolitical situation, and because of failed governmental policies that prioritized political pet projects over, of course, the well-being of its constituents. And the insanity has reached such a crazy level where even BlackRock, one of the biggest financial institutions in the entire world, that of course does underhanded business dealings with the Federal Reserve, is now threatening to freeze their clients' funds because of how turbulent the market is in the United Kingdom. Yes, you heard that correctly. BlackRock is literally threatening to freeze their clients' money because of how crazy the market is over there. As of course here in the United States, the U.S. Federal Reserve is announcing their plan to assess climate risk to banks, as of course they're trying to use this situation to of course empower themselves. And we have to realize here, what's happening in Europe, what's happening internationally is far more severe than what we're dealing with here in the United States, as of course the power of the dollar has actually been going up. And still, you could see the rampant inflation when it comes to being inside of the supermarkets, when it comes to buying and purchasing goods that, of course, also are dramatically going up. Now imagine what's happening in other places in the world, like in Europe, like in the United Kingdom, where, of course, the value of their currency has even gone down further. And as many financial experts and analysts proclaim, this is only a matter of time until, of course, the chaos and the suffering come home to, of course, the United States. And we could only hope that they are wrong. Are they? Let me know down in the comment section below. But in all honesty, if we actually had a compassionate, good government during these unprecedented, turbulent times, they would be incentivizing, pushing people to be personally reliant, personally responsible, independent. They would be pushing people towards raising their own food, growing it, becoming self-sufficient, because I think it's clear as day what's coming our way is not going to be very convenient. It's not going to be very good, and I think people should prepare, and we're not hearing that from the government. And that's reason one out of a gajillion, million, trillion why you should never trust them. This message is only here on independent media that, of course, also has a very hard time of even reaching out to new people, since, of course, the algorithms downrank us and promote the insanity that, of course, the corporate media promotes. You could fight that right now just by simply sharing this video with your friends and family members. Copy, paste, send it to a random person, and because you do, I'm still here. If you thought I got anything wrong during this broadcast, again, the situation between the East and the West is very complicated. I'm not trying to choose sides here. I'm just trying to call it out for what it is right now. I'm not a fan of any government. I'm not a fan of any political leader. What we have right now is chaos. What we have right now is insanity created by both sides that need to be stopped immediately. And if you think I missed a perspective, you think there's another layer of this that I didn't get, let me know what that was down in the comment section below. The mind always works best when it's open to new ideas, new perspectives, and I do that through, of course, the comment section. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys, and thank you so much for participating, whether you like it or you don't. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you, and this is why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on wearechange.org. One more video right now on lukeuncensored.com. See you there.